thing. You could disagree with it, you could hate it, you could say it's bad, you could not like it. Dudes do not want to put up with any old thing. It's not happening. Those days are over. A call to men. Fellas! Sort of start some type of competition, right? And being competitive is always a good thing to me. For me, my thoughts. Ranking systems it puts women in competition because women are they don't feel in this type of economy, climate, or anything like that they ought to be in any type of competitive field, nature, or anything except when it deals with work and sport and they what they think they know. You get what I'm saying? So, but when it comes to dealing with men, who's going to compete with that? Like pleasing men, women say they don't want to do it. It's cool, especially women in first worlds like America, United States of America. They don't want to do it. So with that being said, we got our own system. Fellas get together and they say, yo, this the country that's women do this the country that women do that, this the country that women do that. Now, is there a certain thing, a mirroring thing that men do? Yes. Men will put certain women in categories because they remind them of the United States of America women. Now, you heard me say on some of my live streams that dudes shouldn't do that. I disagree. I vehemently disagree with dudes doing that. But dudes gonna do it. You heard somebody mention that they read the book, and I was shocked earlier. They said they read the book called The Wrath of Femininity. And in that book, I break down what women should do to maintain their femininity, what goes into it from my vantage point. Because people say, who are you to tell women about femininity? You don't know about femininity. That's why you're not feminine. Let me repeat. The majority of women in the United States of America are not feminine. They're not. They're not. And people say, oh, they don't allow us to do that. Bull. You're superficial. That's why you got a need to want to go out there and make money and do it and compete with men. Superficiality breeds contempt. That's just it. Not familiarity. Superficial. That superficiality, a word that I made up, but the superficial nature of people breeds contempt, right? They have contempt for their positions in life. They have contempt for how they were raised. That's superficiality, right? Superficiality, which might be a word, is an ality, but superficiality breeds contempt because, again, you're not secure in how you feel about your life. You compare yourself to others, so you're trying to get what they have or want what they have, right? And you look at yourself as less than if you don't have, right? And you put people who you compare yourselves over when you don't have as your superiors just because they do have. So, of course, you're going to breed, it's going to create some type of contempt for you because you're trying to compare yourselves to others, right? That's why I tell men not to do that with other men. Men are competitive by nature, which they're trying to get rid of with this quote-unquote civilized society, but they'll never get rid of that. They'll never get rid of that. Because a man is not looked at as the same as somebody sitting on a couch versus a man out there getting it. Those two are not the same, and we don't put them the same. We say, get out there and you should get it too. Put your back in there. So that's what we do as men. So women wanted to jump in there and they saying, oh, I can't be feminine because, no. You're not feminine because you're superficial. You're not feminine because you're superficial. Once you release that superficiality, you'll be good. You won't have the need to worry about what everybody else doing or trying to get out there and just get the expensive weaves, the big Dumbo eyelashes, look like you want to fly off somewhere. You can not start bleaching your skin or anything like that. And people always want to blame. Nah. You got women in what you call third world countries. Y'all use that term. That was only war terms, but now those terms are interchangeable. But at one time, there was people who didn't agree to that. They families and things like that constructed how the mindset of their daughters, the mindset of when all of this like vain or vanity started pushing. That's when we get now. But we got it 10x because of access to technology, right? They didn't have it in the 50s, so it wasn't as bad. They didn't have it in the 60s, so it wasn't as bad. They didn't have it in the 70s, so they didn't have it in the 80s, so it wasn't as bad. They did have it, even Lauryn Hill, who was Love Yourself and Queen Latifah and all of them in the 90s. So you didn't have it like you have now in the 2000s, right? So with that being said, look at what you have now. You have access. So with access, you're going to get certain things that people try to seek, which they normally wouldn't see. Again, you don't hang out in those environments, so you wouldn't normally see a Bugatti, unless you're forcing yourselves to portray yourselves as having that type of money that those people have. But besides that, faking the funk, right, that happened in the 80s, 90s, and they'll get called out eventually. But now you have people who could just log in online, see a Bugatti, even like mock up themselves up on a Bugatti as if they're really next to the car, or if they really in the plane or anything like that. So now we got that type of thing going on. But for me, it always been competition with men. So why wouldn't we? Right? In a way, I feel how dudes feel. Like, why wouldn't we tell which type of women are our women? You get what I'm saying? Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we want to? So we will do a sort of competition. But the thing I always say, I don't want dudes to compare American women when it comes to the negative, right? Because they'll start doing that to foreign women. They'll be like, oh, she got a little attitude. She remind me of American woman. You get what I'm saying? Thanks to our passport, and God bless America for the dollars to travel. Yeah, true indeed. But what dudes will do eventually, right? That's why I don't agree with comparison, because dudes take comparison overboard. When a woman reminds them of something that they don't like, they go revert back to, she reminds me of an American or United States of America woman. And that's what I'm trying to stay away from, right? But should there be rankings? Yes. We rank on femininity. The force. We're going to say the force. May the force be with all of you fellas who traveling this weekend. I meant to say that earlier. But the force. Feminine, organized, respectful, cooperative, and encouraging. Let me repeat. The force. Feminine, organized. That's very important. Men need an organized woman, right? She organized her bathroom. She organized, like, even just as little as her bathroom. If y'all seen in my type of work how nasty it is, I see it firsthand. Nobody can tell me about it. So I'm telling people, feminine, organized, respectful, cooperative, and encouraging. That's the 5. That's the hand, the force, right? May the force be with you, right? That's the hand. So I'm telling guys, I'm like, listen, you want to pay attention to these things when it comes to women, right? One of the fellas I know, you heard me mention him several times on here before. So when you hear this story, you'll know who I'm talking about. One day he gets up and say, listen, I'm going to take a trip with me and my friend, right? We're going to go to a place like Brazil. So he gets on the plane, him and a friend. They're both on the plane, chilling, relaxing, going through customs, doing all that. They finally make it before all of this stuff started going crazy, right? Finally make it to Brazil, right? Together as boys, right? My dog. They make it to Brazil. One of them didn't do what he should have, right? But he was able to mesh because he reminds the Brazilians of a Brazilian, like he's a Brazilian guy, right? And David Israel, what up, bro? He reminds them that, right? Now, think about this. He goes to Brazil. They both hanging out. So one guy had his chick and my boy had his chick. You know who I'm talking about. So they at the restaurant. You order, you first, what should I eat? Right? The force is with me in Brazil, but I'm still in Mandalorian. I'm still a Mandalorian. So with that being said, shout out to Wolf. What up? So with that being said, it was crazy because she waited on him to order first, right? She waited on him. Now, if you want to go ranking, we're going to start doing a ranking system, right? She waited on him to order first. Beautiful woman. If you bring her to America, she'll blow half of the women out in this country, right? So they sit at the table and she wait for him to order. Another thing, she does another thing. They're leaving out of the restaurant or store, right, or building. They go down the steps. She would not leave out the door and wanted him to go first. But other than that, so she wouldn't leave out the door. And so my man, like, she just stopped. And he thought this was like, why did she just stop? She stopped so he can go out of the door first. Now, I know we living in a society at a time where women think who live in first world countries, right? Over developing countries, they don't. Developing countries, they don't. But let me tell you what's happening, right? Men of means, of all type of means, bro. I don't care if they got a little check saved up for 3 months. I don't care if they have hundreds of $1,000s in the bank. Dudes are not putting up with just any old woman or any old thing. You could disagree with it, you could hate it, you could say it's bad, you could not like it. Dudes do not want to put up with any old thing. It's not happening. Those days are over, right?